Hi there, it's Nina, speech language pathologist, and I want to talk to you today about the concept of plus one. And what does that have to do with language and communication with your child? Well, plus one means exactly that. You're going to add one level from where your child is naturally communicating as a model for them to see that as something attainable, that they can reach that next step. Let me give you some examples. Let's say your child is not yet talking, and your child is going to reach for something when he or she wants it. Let's see, I have a little notebook here. So, reaching is communicative. It's showing us the intention. Okay? Now, what's one step up from reaching could be pointing. So you could model to your child pointing, oh, the book. You can label it, of course. Those are a lot of steps ahead of your child if your child's just reaching. But what you're modeling now is the next language level up. In this case would be pointing. A little bit more defined, more specific than a reach. You could show your child, and you could even try to touch your child's hand to see if they'll form a point in this case. Now, if your child is not yet talking, but they're making sounds, so if they're saying like, for the book, great. Now, what the next step here would be words. So you're going to say, book. You could even point to your mouth to bring some attention to your mouth so they could try to form that sound more clearly. Book. That's the one step up from where your child is. If your child is saying words, if your child says, book, then we're going to add an extra level. And this could be different things. This could be adding descriptions. So it could be like, what is this? A mouse? Right? Mouse book or yellow book. Glasses book, if they had to show it. Another one could be adding actions. And I like adding actions for wanting or requesting something, specifically using the word want. So, want book. It's not a complete sentence and grammatically correct yet because they're not saying I want book, but it's adding one level up from book, want book. And that way, that's showing them that that's the next step of where they're going. Now, a quick note on the word please. A lot of parents and teachers and just a lot of people working with young children try to help their child say please attached onto what they're already saying. Now, words like please and thank you, excuse me, I'm sorry, these are social words. They're not really content words, and they're not really communicative words. They're social words. Now, I'm all for children being nice and being polite. However, they have to have a strong base of their own language and vocabulary before those come in. And they can be socially appropriate and nice without words. Smiling or looking at somebody or, rubbing their arm if they got hurt or something. All of those are really appropriate nonverbal social communication. Social communication verbally comes naturally after a child has about 200 to 500 words independently that they're producing. So if a child only has like 5 or 10 words and they're saying book, to say book please in this case, isn't that appropriate yet? because they need to have more words. They need to have more description words and more action words before they can understand the concept of please. Otherwise, what we see happening is that a child then replaces the content words with please without any other words. And how do we see this? Please, please, please what? I don't have the language to ask for the object or the action that I want, so I'm just using please for everything. And then we have to work backwards to fit the language in. This is just my little soapbox spiel about the word please. I know it's an important word. We'll get there. Let's get the basics in first. Let's get a strong foundation in first. Build up the vocabulary, actions, descriptions, and labels for things, and then we'll add in please. Okay, the last one I want to talk about is if your child is nonverbal but uses a communication system, you can also do the +1 strategy to support your child. If your child, I have Go Talk Now. I have Touch Chat open right now on my, let me fix the camera, on my iPad. So if your child is often just going to, let me see here. Let's say they go to lunchbox.
Lunchbox.
Okay. This is a one-word request. Your child is at the one-word phase, even if they're navigating multiple pages to get there. So you can model this on the device because they're not speaking. You need to model it on their device, and so you're going to be able to say, oh, you want. Lunchbox. Want lunchbox. +1. I'm adding the verb want. Okay. On the device, there's lots of options. Let me see if I can show you here. For action words, actions. So we can add in action words. I like to use the word see when it's not a request. For example, if they just see a dog or a plane, then maybe they go to their device or they say dog. They find dog. And the +1 response you can have is see dog. I see a plane. That's a nice social comment to add as an action for, in this case, just a labeling. I see a dog. I see a plane. Okay, that's all for today. We talked about +1. Wherever your child is at, you can step it up and model one step up. When you're modeling multiple steps up, then even though your child might understand, it doesn't help your child feel confident to try to get to that next step for their own expressive language. Receptively, they might understand, but if we want to support their expressive development, we can go one step up. There's a little bit of a challenge, but it still should be attainable. They might need some time, some practice to get there, but then they're going to start to move to that next step, and then they'll start to be comfortable at that step before we can move on to the next. All right, that's all for today. I hope this was helpful. I'll see you on my next parent coaching video on Thursday. Bye.